Back at the home base for another episode of Make a Difference with Phil Martelli. We had an awesome week last week checking out St. Joe's Prep. That was something special, Phil. You talked about right off the bat. I mean, those kids just unbelievable. Blew us away.
And the feedback has been unreal. Going to talk about where we're going. We've had a middle school reach out to us and kind of connecting today's show with what people are out there thinking. They've invited us to their Coaches versus Cancer, a middle school that raises over $45,000. They've invited us to come out there in March, shoot an episode, interview these middle school kids because of what they saw from the St. Joe Prep students and the population, the alumni base, the families that have reached out to thank us for highlighting them. They highlighted us.
No, 100%. I mean, that was so much fun. And I just feel like we learned so much. Honestly, I was so impressed by what these kids do. And I'm going to be really impressed down the pipeline for all these schools that we are hoping to highlight here in the future. Now, it was a big week for you outside of the professional ranks. I do want to get right into just a special date that you got to celebrate this week and kind of how that can, I would say, circle back into this college basketball world for so many people.
Sure. So Judy and I celebrated our 48th wedding anniversary on November 20th. I still scratch my head. I was the JV coach at Cardinal O'Hara High School in Springfield, teaching grade school on Roosevelt Boulevard at St. Martin at Tours for the grand total of $4,000. Judy was working at a bank, Western Savings Bank, and we decided to get married during the basketball season. So I had to take a week off, and the late, great Buddy Gardler, he understood. He attended the wedding, and to be able to go through not just this career, but this life with Judy, who is a basketball Hall of Famer with her Immaculata teams, has just been extraordinary. So to have that chance to celebrate, but then to see the response on social media. I had one guy, hopefully it was tongue in cheek, who accused me of being married to a 48-year-old and not just being married for 48 years. So family is important for everybody out there that's involved in leadership, everybody that's out there involved in coaching in any way, shape, or form. Family has to be number one. And I will admit for a long time, and it was always my teams and my recruiting and then the byproducts, thinking that it was a trade-off for all the good things that happened for my family, the different people that they got to meet, the different events that they got to go to, the locations where they saw games. And then the back 8-10 years, I realized it has to be family first. And that's what's most important. So at the end of the day, you are surrounded by that family and you want to support them in every way possible. So I send out a huge thank you to all of my family for all the support, not just in my career, but more importantly, in my life.
I think that number one, I mean, the biggest takeaway to me is just how amazing it is that you guys truly are a basketball power couple. I mean, talk about Aunt Judy being a basketball Hall of Famer with the Mighty Macs. It's really incredible to see you two kind of navigate what so many have to go through in this realm, which is the difficulty of how busy you are throughout the year. There are so many wives and so many husbands that are, have to kind of be a supporter and really have to work around those schedules. We have someone coming on the show today that is going to be able to speak to that firsthand, not just from the partnership between maybe a husband and wife, but also what that father-son relationship may look like. Going to have some really great insight into that, something firsthand, really times two. And I think that is really, at the end of the day, what makes, I guess, this game and this profession so special is when you see those people that can make that sacrifice for you so consistently to achieve what you want, but then still maintain that family and still maintain that love is impressive through 48 years.
And the big deal, and I'm big on not calling each other coach, because who we are as people is a lot more important than what we do as a coach. And we are blessed and fortunate, and I know it, and I live it, and I anybody out there, in a leadership, don't get confused. Leader is what you do. It's not who you are. Don't lose who you are.
I think so many teams, by the way, also love to throw the word family around,
Sure.
right? And you can only build that if you feel like you have that strong family in your own personal life that is allowing you and building you up and guiding you to that point. Like you establish a brotherhood as a team if you have that strong family unit around you to support you through all of that, I think.
No question, and that kind of morphs into this what we want to talk in the behind the curtain basketball. So a lot is going on right now below the college level. High schools and grade schools are out there forming teams. So as you form your team, it's a big deal that we recognize the young men and young ladies that don't make a team. The idea of playing with your friends is just a gift, and we want all of them to have that joy of being on a team. But for all of the coaches and for all of the parents and for all the young people that don't make a team, don't despair. Stay, if it's your passion, stay with your passion. Find another way maybe to get involved. I always tell the story about Johnny Custer at Bishop Kenrick High School, 15 years old, cut him as a sophomore. He came back to be a manager that year. Junior year, made the junior varsity. Senior year, he was all Catholic in Philadelphia. It's a remarkable story, and it was all about him pursuing his dreams. So the young people that are on a team, do it with joy. Have a great year. Have a great winter playing a wonderful sport. For those that aren't, find a way to stay involved. Don't get bitter, get better.
I love that. Don't get bitter, get better. Well, we have an incredible guest coming up, and I don't want to keep him waiting too long, so I do want to jump into the Martelli minute, of
Sure.
course. Don't
Go
get
on.
better, don't get bitter, get better. Is I don't know. Was that in the chamber? That's a
No,
good
no,
one.
not one yet. Not yet. Status Solution Network is committed to making a difference by providing Alicia's Law, compliance safety technology to schools through a grant of use, ensuring that financial barriers never stand between students and proper safety. Each community has the power to create real change. Learn more at statussolutions.com. We are delighted that they are the sponsor of the Martelli Minute. Here we go. Individual accolades come from team successes. It is never the other way around. It's not a team success, right? Team success, and maybe there's individual accolades. No, you must have team success to lead to individual accolades. Allow your character to shine through always. When you win, demonstrate humility and gratefulness. When you lose, accountability and calm. The win and the loss are in quotation marks. I'm not talking about games. I'm talking about in life. When you win, demonstrate humility and gratefulness. When you lose, accountability and calm. Make it your mission today to find someone you can help. And if I could morph into ours, find someone you can make a difference. Some way you can make a difference. The Martelli Minute, though, is every day on Instagram, Phil_Martelli. I don't know, you sign up for that or you sign up for Instagram. I don't know how you all do that, but
You make an account.
We would love to have
You
them.
make an account, you hit the follow button right on the Phil
Okay.
Martelli account, and that is how you get your daily dose of the Martelli Minute.
Lon Kruger is a special man. And if I could just kind of set a tone here, like in coaching, in leading, you coach your team, you build your future teams. You represent your family, your institution, your program in your community with the idea of making a difference in others' lives. Coaches versus Cancer allowed me to do that, and crushing cancer stays at the forefront of my mind and my heart, as you well know. So delighted today to be joined by the past chair of the National Coaches versus Cancer Council, a Hall of Fame coach, but more importantly, a Hall of Fame man and family man, Lon Kruger, welcome to Make a Difference.
Well, thank you very much. Certainly my pleasure. Certainly appreciate your leadership through all the years, and the impact that you had on Coaches versus Cancer folks is unmatched. And again, I guess you want me to call you Phil, but I'm more inclined to call you Coach because you're so highly respected in our profession. But again, an honor to be here, and certainly appreciate the opportunity to talk.
So Lon, we all get a lot of opportunities when we get into these positions. So, two-part question: why Coaches versus Cancer for you, and how has your involvement made a difference in your life?
It started back. I was at Kansas State University when Norm Stewart was at Missouri, of course, diagnosed with cancer back in the late '80s, early '90s, and Coach Stewart, the other Big Eight coaches at that time, kind of rallied around Coach Stewart, and certainly he's the reason for Coaches versus Cancer. He had that three-point attack back in the early '90s, where boosters contributed monies for every three-pointer his team made to go toward the fight against cancer. So it started there with Coach Stewart, and as you well know, the coaches around the country do such a great job using their platform, to promote the fight against cancer, not only to raise dollars, but to increase the awareness, to promote the value of screening and early detection. Again, you were such a great leader on the council as a chair for many, many years. So you know how impactful those coaches are when they use that platform for good.
Lon, I think it's that talking about our coaches and their commitment, and now it's across the board with this Coaches versus Cancer auction, which I'd like to get into in a second. But the invaluable resource that our coaches are to the fan base in their communities. People can pick up the phone and call one of our coaches, and our coaches can kind of steer them in a direction of where they can get the help necessary for them and their families from the American Cancer Society. Don't you find that to be a rewarding phone call? It's people in despair reaching out to you, and you can be of help. It's bittersweet.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. American Cancer Society, they're ready and eager to help. As huge an organization they are, as to your point, you can call a certain person, put you in touch with a doctor. The doctor can reach back to that patient that's needing help. And coaches, and again, as you know, in 32, 33 years, raised over $160 million in the fight against cancer. But even more importantly, that relationship part of it, that satisfaction you get when you see a cancer patient assisted by the American Cancer Society, huge value there, and makes you feel awfully good.
So the auction is launched today, and if you could just give us details on some of these items, blow you away: Major League Baseball, men's basketball experiences, specific coaches that will spend time with you. It's absolutely phenomenal. If you could describe some of that, Lon, and then tell us, how do we make a difference in this fight to crush cancer?
Yeah, it's great to see people come together from all walks, whether it be, football, baseball, basketball, of course, at the heart of all that are basketball coaches that are offering experiences, come, into the locker room prior to a game, sit on the bench, jump on the team plane to see all that goes behind, the routine of a college team when they're on the road preparing for a ball game. Obviously, playing golf with coaches, attending NBA games, sitting on the front row. There's so many opportunities. Hopefully, people will go on, and obviously, we're partnering with the folks at Golf Digest, to pull off this auction. But a huge couple weeks here. It goes through December 2, and we need folks to jump on there today and see all those items that you're talking about. A great opportunity to enjoy an experience, but even more importantly, be paying money that goes toward the fight against cancer.
How about if you're at a Thanksgiving family dinner and the patriarch says, "I'm involved in a bidding war to play with Roy Williams, play golf."
Yeah.
It's pretty kind of, it
The
would
list
be,
is insane. I looked over it yesterday and I was like, oh my God. I mean,
Yeah.
this is an unbelievable experience for, I mean, there's, NFL experiences, there's like college, like, you can get to go to tournament games, things like that. But then some of the things, Lon, I'd love to ask you about just like some of the more individual experiences. I mean, have you done it before where you've, taken somebody out for a round of golf? And I'd love to hear a little bit about that. I mean, it's a very personal experience for someone, and I imagine that's got to be pretty fun to kind of get to know a fan or someone at that level.
Oh, it's a great time. It's a great time. Yeah, we do it. We have the opportunity to do it every year, and as you say, it's not just that 3 or 4 hours that you spend on the golf course, but before, after, and a lot of times it turns into an ongoing relationship. Several of those people that we've played golf with as a result of the auction, we they come to ball games. We have continued conversations with them, and oftentimes they participate year after year. So it's a great experience, and again, not just a great cause, but a really, really fun time.
Solon, I need to pick your brain. You're the father of a Division I head coach, as am I. And I have a young guy who is probably has not been to sleep yet since he lost a 1-point game last night after winning a 1-point game earlier. How has that experience been for you and Barb with Kevin being the head coach at UNLV?
Well, as you very directly know, it's way more stressful sitting in the stands watching your son coach than it is to do it from the sidelines. It's great because Kevin and as your son is, they're doing something they have a passion for. They love it, but it's extremely challenging. I find myself yelling at the officials a lot more now, and even yelling at these players for not doing what they should be doing than I did from the sidelines. But it's great. He's having a great time. He loves being in Vegas. He loves his squad. He's actually got by far the most talented squad this year that he's had. It's going into his 4th season. So it'll be a fun year. Mountain West Conference is really, really tough, as every league is. But it'll be challenging, but challenge he looks forward to and enjoys a lot.
And Lon, how about how many times you're asked, really, you said it was okay for him to go into this business? and I shake my head and say, you don't understand. Like, this is
Yep.
a great profession because you can impact people's lives, not just your players, but their families, your fans, your alumni. I wouldn't trade it for anything, and I would feel I'm speaking for you. That's exactly how us old timers feel.
No question, no question. Well, and as you know, it's about the relationships more than anything else. Not just with your current roster, but guys that graduate, move on, and they have their families and they come back, and those are the things that really, really are meaningful and impactful. And as you know, with the portal today and the changing landscape, it's different. And I feel for the coaches that maybe won't have those feelings of 4 and 5 year relationship with players that we always valued more than anything else. And today it's kind of a one and done, and the agents get involved, and it's not so much about the relationship and the loyalties, which I think are two really important things going forward in life. And I'm not sure we're teaching those life lessons at this point. It's unfortunately, as much or more about the money than anything else. And it's still great. You can't beat it, but I don't know that you and I would trade that for what we had over the last 40 years.
No question about it. You still wear sneakers to work every day at 3:30. So that's a great thing. Message, Lon, I'd like you to deliver a message. Young people, young coaches, young leaders that are out there. So from a Hall of Fame gentleman, and there aren't a lot of them, right? There aren't a lot of gentlemen in this game. Not that I'm knocking anybody. Lon, what would be a message to young people out there who we want to be the next generation of leaders in our communities?
Yeah, I think maybe most importantly is just choose to be happy, choose to be positive, choose to do things that impact others in a positive way. And again, not just members of your team, but those in the community, anyone you come in contact with. So many people are concerned and a little paranoid but reach out and do and say things that make others in the room feel good about themselves. Promote confidence, promote that positive energy, and again, gossiping is the worst thing in the world. So why choose to say something negative if you can just as easily, do something in a positive way? And so I just encourage people to always be about others. Do whatever you can to pick others up. We encourage our players always to be that person when you walked in the room, other people enjoyed being around. As opposed to someone that people want to avoid because he's negative or gossiping all the time. So just be positive and be about others and lift other people up.
Lon, before we do let you go with our final question that we do end with every guest here on the Make a Difference podcast, one thing that I'm wondering is, you a terrific career, a college basketball Hall of Famer. At one point you made the decision to walk away from the game and hang it up. You're obviously still so involved with Kevin, with Coaches versus Cancer. I'm sitting next to a man that made the similar tough decision. And I guess what I'm wondering is, do you have any advice for him heading into retirement? Because I've said this time and time again on the show, he's the busiest retired guy I know. He's got like 3-4 different things on his plate, like even today alone, that he's got to run to. And I'm like, you are quote unquote retired. I mean, how do you kind of step back, still stay involved, still let people know, hey, I'm here if you need something, but kind of, take your time and enjoy some time for yourself and your family? I'd love for you to give him kind of your 2 cents.
Yeah, well, we appreciate Phil, continue to be involved because he impacts so many people in such a great way. So we need folks doing that. And I think there's so many retired coaches out there that could do and be involved more. So we need to. I might get with Phil, you later, to see what we can do to get these retired coaches and take advantage of all their experiences. With younger coaches, especially in the country. But Barb and I knew, when we had our first granddaughter 12 years ago, that the grandkids would be the reason we retired. And that was absolutely the case. I retired, now going into 4 years ago, and still loved coaching, loved what we were doing, but missing too much, the activities of our grandkids. So we've got 6 now, 3 by our daughter, Angie, and 3 by our son, Kev. And that grandparent duty is absolutely the best thing ever. And we love it. And that's the reason we got out of it. And we miss the relationship part of the coaching, but otherwise, grandkids have filled that void, more than amply.
Family first, family first.
Yep.
All right, Lon, we finish every podcast with this question. There is some pressure now because we have a little bit of success now since Gino Auriemma just set the collegiate and maybe the all-time record for wins not ever to be surpassed in my mind. But he's been on the show, and Cal's been on the show, and now Lon, you're right up there as a top of the list, Mount Rushmore kind of guy. So we finish all podcast guest segments with this question: who's made the biggest difference in your life?
Well, there's so many people, as you know, as coaches, we borrow and steal from others. But that answer is very easy for me. And I grew up with terrific parents. My dad and mom. I was the oldest of 6, and they were all in on whatever they could do to help their kids have a better start in life. And we grew up in the Midwest. We didn't have a lot of extra things, but we had everything we needed. But most importantly, we had the time from our parents. I mean, they were all in, coaching all the little league teams. Mom, they're at home every day. We got off the bus, and she didn't work outside the home, but certainly 6 kids. She had more than 2 full-time jobs. But Dad was great. Again, he was all about helping other people. He'd take people in off the street and give them a place to stay for a week or 2 or longer, whatever the case might be. But to your point, it's family, and if you've got that, you're blessed. And I don't know if there's a close second.
Well, Lon, thank you. It's just so special. And we have to acknowledge here that Lon's up at like 7 o'clock in the morning on the West. Right. So we appreciate it, Lon. My best to everybody. I hope that we see an NCAA tournament game, UNLV against Bryant and or Penn State, if they could play a 3-way scrimmage like we used to in the old days, Lon.
We'd love that. We'd love that.
That would be really special. My best to everybody in your family. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And our best to Judy. Judy was always one of Barb's favorite people, and you are mine. So congratulations on what you're doing and on 48 years of marriage, and keep doing the great stuff you're doing. Thanks.
Thanks, Lon.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Lon.
it.
You bet.
This auction, the more you look at it, golf with Roy Williams, John Beeline, Lon Kruger, Chris Collins, Dana Altman, Sean Miller, several top 100 courses. I can't even drive by these courses. I get detoured if I get near the front gate. Olympia Fields and Oak Hill and Valhalla, Oakland Hills, Pinehurst. Go to a basketball, the tournament, ACC, Big Ten, where do we bid? Like, can we that's what we should do. We should turn the podcast into a telethon and have people bid right on air. Seriously, Major League Baseball. Hold on. The Cardinals, the Brewers, the Royals. What's up? What's up with?
I told you it's unbelievable.
Seriously.
I don't know if we can do a live telethon. I'm just trying to make sure we get the podcast off the ground, okay? But we can work our way to a telethon.
Big Ten championship football. Wow. Now they're going to be shocked when they go to the Big Ten championship football, and it could be Oregon against
UCLA.
Yeah, seriously. But maybe one of those experiences will make its way onto Where Was Phil?
You think so?
I don't know.
Is that a possibility?
I don't know, but we got to get bidding. We got to get off the air so we can start bidding. If anybody can help out, please.
I was going to say, I don't know if we want to wrap things up so quickly. I have quite a few to get to, but as soon as this thing is over, I'm going to be taking a good hard look at some of these auction items because, and we'll be pushing them out throughout the week as well with the show and everything because, like you said, I mean, you're going down the list. You haven't even named everything. It's unbelievable, top to bottom, and it's supporting a fantastic cause. Coaches versus Cancer. The money is going to the American Cancer Society. It's really a no-brainer over the next week.
And the effort not to beat cancer, to crush cancer, as I've said many times.
That is, I mean, Lon was just absolutely terrific today. Goes without saying, like you said, a true gentleman of the game. I mean, it's awesome to see the relationship you guys have had, the relationships you've built through the years with some of these coaches. It's been a lot of fun to kind of be on the sidelines to see some of that. And not only just staying involved with the game. I thought he had some good advice, by the way. You know, I'll let you heat it as you may. I know you love to stay busy. You got quite a few grandkids, you know, in the pipe there that I'm sure would love to see you more. And you know, you're working your way into it. You're easing your way into it. It takes time, but to kind of transition out of that, I think he's done it pretty gracefully. I would say someone it's kind of learned quite a bit,
as he's done all things in life.
I can imagine. It's unbelievable to have yet another Hall of Famer on the show. It feels like we only have. I mean, we'll give the prep kids some time, you know, give them a chance. But it's been almost virtually some really top class people on the show, which has been a lot of fun. But like you mentioned, we do need to find out where in the world is Phil Martelli, and you once again had a very, very busy week.
I was able to take in a Philadelphia City game. LaSalle versus Drexel. They gave me the opportunity to broadcast. Terrific game. Great feeling. Two coaches going at it. And then at the end of the game, hugging and expressing appreciation for each other. It was really special. Sunday, I was glad to be at a prayer service for Tom McKenna, who everybody in Philadelphia had a nickname for, and Hockey Puck was one of them, and legendary. Back to when I was coaching at Bishop Kenrick High School, he was at the games. He worked with maybe the greatest schoolboy writer in the country, and Ted Solari, who's passed away, and Tom passed away, and they had a prayer service in Northeast Philadelphia on Sunday. I was able to get up there and see a number of dignitaries from the high school ranks, from the recruiting ranks, from the gurus. Special. It was special. But then, building on this family theme, sped down 95 and was able to catch the Bryant practice at Delaware Sunday night. Very proud of Philip and how he prepares his team. The warm greeting I got from the players and the staff made it special. Then flew out to Chicago, and DePaul Eastern Illinois, a 5-0 DePaul team that is taking more than 50% of their shots from three. 20 of their first 25 shots were from three. They didn't go in at a high rate, so it was a tight game at halftime. Wonderful performance by Eastern Illinois. DePaul winning that game to go 5-0, and then headed home for a anniversary celebration. And now we go forward to the coming week.
I know you have one thing that ties in very well to this show. Something coming up very soon that is going to continue to help you in that effort to crush cancer.
Well, I'm hoping it does. I'm hoping that it does. Today's trip, Wilmington, Delaware, for the Father Trainer Scholars Luncheon. Excited about that one. An in-depth conversation this afternoon with Justin Kessler and the local Coaches versus Cancer. We're going to announce that the Alumni Coaches Association has taken over the March breakfast, headed by John Griffin, joined by Jay Wright, Nick Nurse, John Giannini, Dave Pauly, Herb McGee, Jim Lynham. If you've coached in Philadelphia, you'll be a part. Aaron McKee. And we will host the March Madness breakfast at the Palestra that Monday after Selection Sunday. We're going to get into details, maybe even do the podcast from that breakfast.
It's certainly been on the docket.
It's something.
Taking the show on the road is
Right.
something that I am a very big fan of, and I'd love the opportunity, but I don't want to put too many eggs in one basket. I don't want to step on any toes. We'll see when we get there.
We'll get there.
Baby steps.
And then Saturday, back to that family theme. Congratulations to Denise and Brian McNeil, 50 years married, Judy's older sister. And they will have a celebration on Saturday. But then Sunday, major prep. You and I are going to be connected on this one because next week's guest is going to join the Mount Rushmore of guests. So why don't you tell the people who's going to be with us?
I would say that we might need to find a new mountain because we're going to run out of space on a Mount Rushmore of guests with the pedigree with which we've had so far. But yes, that's right. Next week, very excited about this one. We will have Philadelphia Council member Isaiah Thomas on the show, really diving back into really trying to make a difference in all aspects of life. We have these coaches on. We love to talk to the coaches and see what they can do to help their communities. But this is the forefront. This is people who can make real effective change in the Philadelphia community. And that's what we hope to.
And we cannot ignore, though, councilman is just one of his titles because he is a coach in the Philadelphia Public League. If we're going to save the cities, we have to start with the schools. And he's doing it every day, 24 hours a day. I'm really anxious to lead into Thanksgiving week with Isaiah Thomas.
How does he get the time is what I wonder.
Maybe he retired and he's just following my path.
But being a council member, you did coach for a long time. You were a basketball coach for a long time. Could you imagine being a city council member on top of that?
Probably not, but I will share this with you. Again, the family theme. Your great grandmother. So your grandmother's mother said to me one day, I think a lot of things are going to be positive for you in the future. I'm just trying to figure out how you're going to be Pope and mayor of Philadelphia at the same time. Nan went to her eternal grave without that happening, but she's probably up there still wondering if I can do it.
Pope might be tough. Mayor of Philadelphia, not totally out of the realm of possibility. I don't know. Let's baby steps again. Baby steps.
That's it. Let's start with the councilman.
Yeah, we'll start there and then we'll work our way up, I guess. But man, very excited for next week's episode. You'll see that sometime later next week. You're likely hearing this on a Friday here morning right now or throughout the week, but we'll have that episode out with Isaiah Thomas before the Thanksgiving holiday. And I think with that, we'll touch a little bit more on Thanksgiving and ways we can really utilize that holiday to make a difference, to give back, to help those in need. I think something that we'll highlight a little bit more with that, I would say, Thanksgiving week episode. Certainly something to look forward to with that. Now, if you're looking to make a difference in any meaningful way, there's an easy way to get in touch with Phil here. Head on over to pnjmakeadifference.com. There's a way to get in touch with Phil. You will see all of the work he's been doing in classrooms, in the workplace, on the basketball court, to try and make a difference in any way he can. You also see an arm of the podcast on there as well, so you can take a listen to this through there. You can also listen through Spotify, through Apple Podcasts, through really any major podcast platform you're hearing us. And if you are listening to us, go ahead and give us a 5-star rating. We'd love that. We'd really appreciate that. And if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and give us a like and a subscribe. That would be much appreciated as well. As we continue to grow this thing, we hope to be able to do more with it. The bigger the platform, we hope the more influence we can have. The more people watching, the bigger difference we can make ultimately. I mean, we had a fantastic guest today, Lon Kruger, who was able to let us know everything that Coaches vs. Cancer and the American Cancer Society is doing to crush cancer, specifically in the next week. So if you want to get involved with that, I mean, we are going to hopefully be a resource for you to continue to help families that have been struck by this horrible disease. And really, what better time to do it than around this holiday season? And look, if all you're getting out of it is a chance to go, golf with, Roy Williams, I mean, that seems like a killer deal to me. I mean, it sounds like a no-brainer. So definitely keep an eye out as we continue to kind of push that out over the next week. One thing that we talked about quite a bit when starting this and kind of launching this was we wanted to be involved with Coaches vs. Cancer as much as possible, because it was so important to you through your career and now as you continue on in the next phase of your career. So I think that something that they're, I hope, well aware of is we hope to promote and push them as much as humanly possible, because that's, I would say, high on the list of priorities for this podcast, I would say.
Sure, and that whole idea of developing sponsorship for the podcast, but also we want to keep getting better. Your reactions to the prep episode last week has made us want to be better, has broadened our opportunities with middle schools reaching out. Continue to do that, please. If you have an idea, if you have a thought, if there's a community program out there that needs a boost, and we will gladly bring them on and let them show their excellence to everybody out there. Keep your ideas coming. We appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been fantastic just to hear from a few people that have already given us some great guest ideas, and believe us, they are on the agenda. They are certainly on the agenda. We can only do one a week. We keep it to one a week because these things could be, they'd start ticking up there in runtime if we really start piling it on. But we have some fantastic guests coming down the pipe in all varieties. We obviously mentioned the one next week that we are beyond excited for, I would say, and with that smashing success that the prep show was, and as you mentioned, that is going to be a regular thing for us to highlight some school communities that are making a difference, and see how we can help them really broadcast and boost their their causes, and what they hope to accomplish in their communities, because as you mentioned, that's where it starts. It starts with the schools, and we really hope to facilitate that and make a difference the best we can. If you haven't already, give us a follow on social media. We are Make a Difference Pod on Instagram. That is on YouTube as well, and as well as TikTok. On X, we are Make a Diff Pod. You can find Make a Difference with Phil Martelli on Facebook as well. That is where we'll hopefully have updates throughout the week with our Coaches vs. Cancer auction as well. We're hoping to push that out with our friends over there as much as humanly possible. But man, that's another fantastic show in the books with another amazing guest. We're just going to keep on rolling, huh?
That's it. Quick turnaround. Have a great weekend. Will we see everybody Monday?
I'm thinking we'll have a shot. I mean, if we'll talk about it.
Okay.
I think we'll talk about that. We don't want to, we don't want to, I guess, oversaturate them with making.
Understood.
We don't.
Understood.
Not saying we don't want to make too much of a difference.
I get it.
Yeah.
We're gonna marinate this one.
Yeah, exactly. But sometime next week, you will see another strong episode coming down the pipe. I don't know if it'll be live. We'll have to talk about that. So that's another.
You're the expert.
I'm figuring it out. Yeah,
Okay.
we're working. I would say you're the expert, but
Let me know.
Yeah, we're figuring it out. Peace, everybody.